benefiting, as you mentioned yourself, that you don't get too attached. Because if you get too attached and your emotions take you away from doing your job, then you're not going to do it correctly, as you mentioned yourself, and Allahu Alam.
The next question from the sister.
Assalamu alaikum. The question is, as Muslims, we can understand that the disasters are from Allah Ta'ala and they are a test for us. But how do we explain the same to non-Muslims?
Wallah, you explain in the same way, because they don't realize this, because their iman, their faith is different from our faith. But the same way, if you explain to them in Islam, even though we see it as being tragedies, we see it as being disasters, there actually could be a lot of good in it. When September 11th happened, that was an evil thing, but also there may have been some good for some of the Muslims. How many people became Muslim when they read about it? It made a lot of people hate Islam on the other aspect. So it was actually a more evil in it, obviously. But any type of tragedy, any type of thing, you explain to them the Muslim outlook. And unfortunately, a lot of the non-Muslims, they do not know these things that we know. So it's our job to show them. And that's why now, when you go to the West, you look at the suicide rate in the West. And they have all the things from the dunya, as the brother mentioned, that we're not as advanced as Muslim countries. They have all this advanced technology and sciences and what have you, but you'll find that they kill themselves all the time because they don't know why they're here. What is their goal in life? But we as Muslims, we know, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah has not created us except for His worship. And we know that we're here to be tested. They don't realize this, so the only way He finds a way out of what he's in is to commit suicide. So you explain to them the same way that we explain now. There's actually, this reminds us of why we're here in the dunya, is to worship Allah as one and to do as much as we can from good deeds and stay away from that which is displeasing to Allah. And Allahu Alam.
The next question from the front mic.
My name is Muhammad Nizamuddin. I'm an SAP professional. And my question is, like, as per Quran and Sunnah, what is the legal verdict regarding tobacco consumption? Is it haram or makruh? And like in Surah Al-Baqarah, I've seen the translation as like, if you take anything which is toxic to you, it is haram to you.
Please, just a reminder everybody, I'm serious when I say it, the questions must be on topic. You can easily visit a fatwa website for this. Again, I'll leave it to the speaker if he wishes to address this, but keep the questions on the topic.
First of all, before I say if it's makruh or haram, I want to explain why at one time there was a difference of opinion. Why some scholars used to say it was makruh and some would say it was haram. That's because when cigarettes, back when they first came to the Muslim nations, there's no ayah or hadith that says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, don't smoke, don't chew tobacco. So the scholars looked at similarities. They found that whoever smokes, he smells bad. He has smoker's breath. And they looked at the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he forbid them from going to the masjid if they have eaten the basal, onions, or garlic, thum. And they said, just as these people, they stink or they have bad breath, also the smoker is the same. So he said, and then it's makruh. However, other scholars at the beginning, they looked at it and they said it's haram from the beginning. Later, all of the scholars, I don't really know anybody now who says it's makruh. And somebody who is a real scholar and understands Islam properly who would say that it's makruh. A lot of the general people of the Muslim ummah, they know the old fatwa of makruh and they still want to hold on to it, so they can say they're not doing that which is haram. But after the scholars learned, for example in Egypt and Al-Azhar and these places, when they learned that smoking causes cancer, it kills you, it's a waste of money, all the evil effects that smoking has, now all of the major places of fatwa throughout the Islamic world, they say it's haram. Because of the evil effects that it has, it wastes your money, it harms your health, and it could eventually kill you. And killing yourself is one of the great sins in Islam, and it's not allowed. And Allahu A'lam.
The next question from the sister.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sharmeen Rahman Khan. I've come from Bangladesh. I'm a homemaker. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here and to listen to all your wonderful lectures. I had a question, like if there is a disaster in a Muslim country or a non-Muslim country, as we know that we are supposed to do dua for only Muslims. So if there is a disaster in a Muslim country, what should we do in another country, what kind of dua we should do for them.
رمضان المحسنين.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Dr. Hussein Hamid Hassan. I wish you Ramadan Mubarak.
A friendly message by Dr. Zakir. Where is your paradise?
According to Sahih al-Bukhari, volume number 8, Kitab al-Adab, chapter number 2, hadith number 2. A man came to Allah's Messenger and asked, "O Allah's Messenger, who is more entitled to be treated with the best of companionship by me?" The Prophet said, "Your mother." The man asked, "Who next?" The Prophet said, "Your mother." The man further asked, "Who next?" The Prophet said, "Your mother." The man asked for the fourth time, "Who next?" The Prophet said, "Your father," which means 3/4, that is 75% of your companionship goes to your mother. And 1/4, that is 25% of your companionship goes to your father. In short, the mother gets the gold medal, she gets the silver medal, as well as the bronze medal. The father has to be satisfied with a mere consolation prize. It is specified in Sunan Nasai, Kitab al-Jihad, chapter number 6, hadith number 3106. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Paradise lies beneath the feet of your mother."
Peace TV, the solution for humanity.
The next question from the sister.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sharmeen Rahman Khan. I've come from Bangladesh. I'm a homemaker. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here and to listen to all your wonderful lectures. I had a question, like if there is a disaster in a Muslim country or a non-Muslim country, as we know that we are supposed to do dua for only Muslims. So if there is a disaster in a Muslim country, what should we do in another country? What kind of dua we should do for them?
The dua that's not allowed for non-Muslims, and after they die, we know this. But during the death, they need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for them. Allahu alam, I don't see a problem with this. And also, I need to help them out. And at the end of the day, even if they're not Muslims, they're human beings. And that's why I recall a lot of our brothers in America, when there was the major hurricane in Florida, they went and they helped out and they helped rebuild the houses and they helped feed and clothe people who had lost all their things during the hurricane. So there's no problem with this, and because at the end they are, our brother in humanity. So it's not just because they say they're non-Muslim, we're not going to help them. No, we help them out as well, and we do what we can for them. And even though our Muslim brother has more rights on us, at the same time we can help out anybody, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, and Allahu alam. And it's something evil like that, we don't wish anything would happen. We don't want anybody to be killed by a tsunami or by this, and even the non-Muslims. We want the good for them, and we want them to experience what we experience from the beauty and from the halal, the sweetness of Iman. And we want them, inshallah, to be able to benefit from that, and they want them to die on the correct religion as well, just as we hope we die on the correct religion. And Allahu alam.
Thank you. Jazakallah.
The next question from the rear mic.
With due respects to you, sir. Okay, with so much faith in Islam and people believing, forget about those who don't believe or don't read. You talk about so much negativity. You remember death. Before dying, people die hundreds and millions of times. Why is Islam portraying so much negativity? And what about the conflict? Those people who are on the right path. Suppose if some people misguide them, what is the direction to today's youngsters? There is so much. You talk about disasters. Disasters were also from ages. Today, something is not new. Bomb attacks are not new. Volcanoes are not new. Earthquakes are not new. If something is to be destructive, why should we remember death every moment? Why cannot we remember life? If I have a brother on my left and my right, why can't I? There's a sprit. There's a sprit moving. Why can't I infuse life in them? Why do I make them scared or feared? Death, death, death. Inshallah, ek din marna hai. Everybody has to die. You, me, all the kings, all the princes. who, yeah, perfect. My
It's clear.
question-
It's clear what you want to say. I got you.
Sir, you didn't get me. Just a last. Why are not people positive about life, inducing life? Why death?
When we talk about death, the importance of remembering death, as I mentioned it, so we can be prepared and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best states. Because if you're not prepared, that means you're not going to try to have as many good deeds as you can. It means that you can meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you're doing something that's displeasing to Him. That's what I'm talking about death. But also, when we're living our life in this dunya, we also have to make life to the fullest. We have to try to find the halawa of iman, the beauty of life, and in our search for happiness. That we find the sweetness of iman, and this is what helps us get through this life. And we must make our life to the fullest. We don't. I'm not saying now when we say let's talk about death that we go home, we sit back and just think about death, and we have only fear. No, we also have hope, and we also enjoy life. We try to build in this dunya and be as productive as we can to our societies. So we have to have a full life, but at the same time, we have to realize what I'm trying to say is that and this is when we're talking about disasters, when you see such a large amount of death at one time, this reminds you of the reality of death, and that's where all of us are going. This doesn't mean that we're not going to live a full life. We're not going to strive to be engineers or doctors or whatever it is we do in life. No, we must strive. We must try to build houses if we can build a house for our children and for this, and do as much as we can and benefit from this dunya and to have a happy life. But also, we cannot forget the reality of death, that it's coming maybe quicker than a lot of us know. So we must be prepared for what is coming, and Allahu A'lam.
Thank you very much.
The next question from the front mic.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Talat Ansari. My question is the disaster due to human bad work or bad deeds? Was disaster there in the age of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Sahabas?
As it came in the verse, bima kasabat aydihim, that it's from what they have done. It can be a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It can also be, sometimes it can be a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any major disasters, you mean like natural disasters during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I don't recall. Allah Alam, I can't recall if there.
Because in disaster, everyone is killed, innocent or the bad one.
Say, it's true. But it came in the Sunnah that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned to Aisha radiallahu anha that at the end of time, a jaysh, an army, will come to the Kaaba, and he mentioned that all the people will be taken, they will be killed. And they said, Aisha, she was concerned about this. So he said, they have the people in their aswaq, in their marketplaces, and they're innocent people. And he said at the end of the hadith, the meaning of which is that they will be sent forth to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yub'ath ala niyatihim. They will be sent on their intentions. And if they were good, they will be judged accordingly, even if they were punished with the people who were being punished. So if somebody can be punished at the same time, he can be an innocent person, he can be a good person, he can be a pious person, and he dies with the people who are being punished, but he will be sent forth on that niyyah, the intention he had, and on the iman he had, and he will not be in the same punishment of the evil people who are punished by that disaster. And Allahu Alam.
Thank you.
The next question from the rear mic.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Khokar. I am a consultant. I'm still not clear on the concept of qadar, destiny. In the Quran, it is mentioned that whatever good you get is because of your good deeds, and whatever bad you get is because of the doings of your hand. So where does the concept of qadar come into picture? Because if you are doing good, you get good. If you are doing bad, you get bad. The other thing is, if you talk about the wars going on in Afghanistan and Iraq, people who die, they have been destined to die at a particular time and in a particular way. But what about the people who are bombing? Are they also destined to bomb them? Then if that is there, then they are not accountable. Can you please give me some clarity on this?
I don't understand what you want from the second part of the question.
The second part is, if you talk about the wars going on in Afghanistan and Iraq, there are people who are dying because of the bombing. Now, if they are dying because they have been destined to die at a particular time and in a particular way. But what about the people who are throwing the bombs? If that is also destined, then they are not accountable for that. Can you give me clarity on this, please?
In qadr, as you mentioned, the good is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in general, whatever happens, كل شيء الله سبحانه وتعالى خلق بقدر. Everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created with qadr in your destiny. So everything that happens to you, it's from the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's good or whether it's bad. So it's not all the time like you mentioned. It could be the good and bad from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's in the qadr. It's going to happen to you. And it could happen for different reasons. Even if you are doing good, and how many people we know who are good and pious, they get cancer, for example. That's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing, and they die from that cancer. But perhaps this could actually be a blessing in disguise, even as I mentioned in the beginning. It seems it's something evil, but this person will have his sins forgiven through that terrible sickness and what have you. So all of it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second thing, and other people, they're held accountable. Everybody who kills an innocent person is held accountable. It doesn't mean because Allah knows that these people are going to die at a certain time in a certain way that you're not going to be held accountable. And you'll be held accountable. Even that's why in Islamic law, if you kill an innocent person, then you are executed through qisas, that you will be executed as well. So you will be held accountable in this dunya, and also you'll be held accountable in the akhirah, in the hereafter as well. And Allahu alam.
Is the person who is killing another person, is he also destined to perform that act?
Allah knows what's going to happen. He chose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't forget, when it comes to qadr, we are not any like robots. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the will to choose which path we're going to take. He showed us the path of good, and He showed us the path of evil. And we choose which one we're going to take. Some of us take the path of good, some of us take the evil, some of us crisscross between the two. And then we are held accountable for all of this on the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us the will to choose what we're going to do. But in His qadr, He knew which one we are going to choose. Allah knows everything that happened from the time He created the heavens and earth until the end of time. He knows everything that will happen. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows it now. So He has given us the will to choose, and then after that, we will be held accountable for which way we choose on the Day of Judgment.
Thank you.
Jazakumullahu khaira. That is all the time that we have for question and answers. A very big thank you. May Allah reward you and bless you and protect you. Brother Abdur Raheem McCarthy, for your talk.
social media, no internet, nothing. So how did it spread across the world?
Look, Bob, Islam reached every corner of the world because the Sahaba, or the companions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they traveled the whole wide world to spread his message.